First of all, I want to turn to GAO. Ms. Rectanis, your little study, you didn't study all of the agencies, and as you said, we have a very diverse and scattered agency, fleet operations and management. But you looked at 5 agencies, was it? And
yes, sir. We looked. Excuse me. We looked at 4 departments, and then within
4.
Interior, we looked at National Park Service and, and BIA.
Okay.
Yes, so
4.
5.
I
yes.
said 4 or 5. Okay, and you found that we could save approximately how much? To describe that again?
Again, what we found in looking at the various steps along the way of what agencies should be doing to ensure they fully utilize their vehicles and justify, we found almost about 2,500 vehicles that cost them about $9 million. How we calculated that is that's what they paid to GSA in fiscal year 2004 to maintain those vehicles.
Didn't the president put out an order some years ago saying that all of the agencies had to set forth a plan for management of their fleets?
There's been a number of those
Yes.
mandates that have come out. Yes, in 2011, there was a presidential memo that talked about optimizing the fleet and eliminating unnecessary vehicles. That happened
And
again
I think the deadline was last year.
December 2015,
Yeah,
correct.
and I think you're also doing another report for us, review for us.
Yes, you have given us a request to look at a number of issues with owned vehicles, not just vehicles, but construction
Well,
vehicles, aircraft. You're keeping us busy.
Yeah, we extrapolated some of the savings, and I estimate, you just take from your 4 samplings, it's somewhere between $80 and $100 million is lost a year. It's fairly significant fleet-wide. We've got some instances of purchases that kind of astound me. About a third of the fleet, I guess, is post office, the 600,000 vehicles, whatever we have. And the GAO reported the Postal Service had purchased about 43 alternative fuel vehicles and indicated that the post office might not be able to operate vehicles using alternative fuel because the fuel, one, wouldn't be available or it would be more costly. That was your finding there?
Yes, that work was from several years ago where we looked at some of the challenges the Postal Service was having with its outdated fleet. It doesn't have the money to replace the fleet, but yes, we found.
But when they bought replacements that had alternative fuel, some of the vehicles wouldn't have access to the fuel. Correct. Or they turned out to be a much more costly exercise.
Correct. They either had vehicles that were not within proximity of fuel availability, or just because they didn't want their carriers to have to go way out of the way to get alternative fuel, and they sought a waiver from DOE to use regular fuel.
The IG of Amtrak produced a very good report, and could we put up that chart 6? It shows the comparison of GSA and commercial lease costs for common vehicles in Amtrak's fleet. And it showed that the type of vehicle, if you look at the red there, that's what they paid. So and GSA costs, they could acquire the same type of vehicle in most instances for less than half, and sometimes Amtrak paid 10 times as much. If you look at the fuel and waste truck comparison, the dump truck, SUVs 3 times as much. Is this what you found, Mr. Howard?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And you said just on one sale, it was like $250,000, $200 and some thousand.
$212,000, yes, on commercial leases versus.
I'm sorry, that was a lease. And then we looked at purchase. Where is the chart here on the purchase? Here's 8 vehicles, just 8 vehicles. And this is also yours, that they purchased. They could have purchased new for $295,000. They did a 44-month commercial lease and paid $22,000, is that correct?
That's correct.
So there's substantial savings both in leasing at lower costs and then lease versus purchase, which brings us back to, we haven't had the cost-benefit analysis of looking at whether it's better to lease than purchase, and that seems to be ignored kind of agency-wide. You found that in Amtrak, Mr. Howard?
Yes, yes, we did, sir.
And you found that, Ms. Rectanison, government-wide?
We have not actually looked individually by vehicle, that lease versus purchase.
Well, maybe in your upcoming report, we can
Yes, sir.
get some more information on that. Then we had another issue. It's kind of interesting. I worked some on the railroad when I was going to college in the summer, so I know sometimes they have to buy more fuel than they put in the tank of the vehicle. But there are a number of instances, pretty extensive number of instances, in which the purchase of fuel exceeded the capacity of a vehicle tank. Did you find that, Mr. Howard?
Yes, sir. We had several investigations of those issues. They were referred to our office by GSA's fraud unit. They monitor the fuel usage of vehicles on the GSA that are leased through GSA.
And speaking of fraud, I mentioned the fuel credit card, and I just got a day or two ago a notice from you of a case, one case. I guess this employee was ripping off the credit card, and he, I guess, has been fired. But you had mentioned that you've gone after these folks. This is just one instance in the last 2 days. How many people have we had to go after on this, or have we successfully prosecuted?
We've had 9 cases that we've completed. We still have a couple cases that are under investigation.
Well, that's, again, unfortunate, but again, something we have to pay attention to. One, I know Amtrak has a lot of issues, and I've worked over the years with Mr. Boardman on food service for one, and we reviewed accidents. They have a pretty tough safety record of accidents with their trains. But this was quite interesting, this operational data, and I believe this is from your report too, Mr. Howard. It showed these are accidents with vehicles, and it showed accidents percentage of times the government or a government employee was at fault versus the employees in all the agencies. And in accidents in which an Amtrak employee was involved, they were at fault 97%, 96.8%, versus in other accidents across the government, 65%. Is that pretty is this accurate? This is your production, sir?
No, sir, that's not mine. That's the DOT's.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the GSA. Okay. Mr. GSA, Mr. Toth, this was a document we got from you then?
I don't believe we submitted that document. We do provide that information
You
to all
think
of our
it's-
leasing customers so that
Says operational
Amtrak would
data,
have
so,
that.
but again, this is information that we have from one of the investigative agencies showing, in fact, 97, it's Amtrak's lease fleet, I'm told. But again, 97% of the time we had an Amtrak employee. Sounds like we need to do a little bit better job of driver training in Amtrak. Just a couple of quick questions for Mr. Boardman, and then I'll yield to the ranking member. Where are we on the use of a charge card for food service with Amtrak?
Excuse me, charge card for food service?
Yeah.
I'll have to get back to you on that. I do not know.
Are we at 100%?
I do not know, sir. I will get you
We're going
back
to leave the record open.
a written response to that.
I said even people who do lawn maintenance now, you can charge on, and we've not had that on Amtrak. either for purchase of tickets on board or for food. And we've lost $1 billion in 12 years in Amtrak food service. What was the Congress's contribution to Amtrak in this current fiscal year? I think it's $1.9 billion.
It's been 1.390 for the last 3 years, sir.
But it's a significant underwriting, and if you have 31 million passengers, you divide that, that's a cost of about $40 million per ticket we're underwriting, and some of those we're not sure on the sale.
That does include the capital cost, sir.
Yes, but again, it's a cost the federal government is paying it. I would love to operate any company, have the government subsidize my capital costs. You were moving forward on purchasing passenger vehicles, and I thought that was in the $2+ billion range to replace Acela, is it? Is that?
Passenger rail vehicles, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that still underway?
Yes, sir.
Have you done a cost-benefit analysis to see if they could be leased?
Yeah, their business plan, I don't think we've done a leasing cost, but almost all of our trains wind up being leased in the end through a financial institution of some sort.
Well, I think it would be interesting to see some of what's being considered in that regard. I know across the world, in some instances, the state-supported rail and then private rail are leasing their vehicles as opposed to purchasing them. And that's a pretty significant purchase. $2+ billion is the estimate, I believe.
You're talking, sir, excuse me, just about the high-speed rail trains?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, Acela trains.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Maybe you could get back to us on the record with that. So